Welcome back to TPS. Only so many all-time great quarterbacks get to spend their entire careers with one team. The quarterback position may be the most important in all of football, but nobody is untouchable. Let's take a look at the 5 best and 5 worst debuts for a quarterback with his new NFL team. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. And just a side note, this doesn't include rookie debuts. We're only considering debuts for players who have changed teams during their NFL careers. So, let's go. Number 5, best Cam Newton. After signing Teddy Bridgewater in free agency, the Carolina Panthers released franchise icon Cam Newton following 2 consecutive injury-riddled seasons. Newton somehow remained unsigned for 3 months before the New England Patriots finally signed him to an ultra-cheap 1-year deal worth only $1.75 million. The Patriots lost Tom Brady, who decided to leave for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in free agency. Many expected second-year quarterback Jarrett Stidham to take over as the starter, but Bill Belichick just couldn't pass on his chance at yet another reclamation project. With that, Newton, the 2015 league MVP, was now Brady's successor in Foxborough. In typical Bill Belichick fashion, he wouldn't give any hints as to who would start in the weeks leading up to the regular season. Finally, Newton was named the starter for the Patriots' Week 1 home game against the Miami Dolphins. And the Patriots really just let him do his thing in that season opener. He completed 15 of 19 passes for 155 yards, but Newton did most of his damage on the ground. He had 75 rushing yards and 2 scores, propelling New England to a 21-11 victory.
And Newton takes it in for the touchdown. Cam gets it.
Newton finished with a quarterback rating of 100.7, and the football world was quickly reminded that the Patriots dynasty isn't over, even in the post-Brady era. Number 5, worst, Philip Rivers. Speaking of 2020 quarterback debuts with a new team, Newton and Philip Rivers were among the many big-name quarterbacks who swapped teams in the 2020 offseason. Following a disappointing 5-11 campaign in 2019, Rivers and the Los Angeles Chargers parted ways after 16 seasons together. He then signed a 1-year contract worth $25 million with the Indianapolis Colts, coached by Frank Reich, Rivers' former offensive coordinator in San Diego. Rivers' debut with the Colts should have been smooth sailing. They visited the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were in full-on tank mode in Week 1. Rivers did complete 36 passes for 363 yards and a touchdown, but he threw 2 costly interceptions in the game, including one in Colts territory with 4.5 minutes to go that hurt their chances of a comeback.
They get it off just barely. Rivers, well protected, that pass is intercepted. And 3rd and 4. Rivers hitting the throw, incomplete.
The Colts got one more chance to tie it up late as they advanced close to the red zone, but the Jaguars' defense forced a turnover on downs. Rivers' 2 interceptions, coupled with his inability to lead the Colts past a lovely Jacksonville team, made for a rather forgettable debut. For best, Brett Favre. Nobody can forget the whole Brett Favre retired-unretired fiasco in the 2008 offseason. Favre had been taking it year to year during his final seasons with the Green Bay Packers. After the team's loss to the New York Giants in the 2007 NFC Championship game, he finally decided to call it quits. But 2 months before the start of the 2008 regular season, Favre decided he wanted to play again. The Packers were adamant about rolling with Aaron Rodgers as their starter, and the team initially refused to release Favre from his contract. It led to some tension between Favre, head coach Mike McCarthy, and the franchise. Finally, with the regular season just a month away, the Packers traded Favre to the New York Jets for a conditional draft pick. Favre showed that he still had it in Green's Week 1 opener at Miami, completing 15 of 22 pass attempts for 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in a 2014 victory.
Firm in mind as well, play fake up top. Jericho Cotchery is the Jet to record imitation. And Chancey Stuckey does his David Tyree.
But Favre's lone season with the Jets was, in a word, inconsistent. He tossed 22 touchdowns against 22 interceptions. The Jets did finish with a respectable 9-7 record, but they wound up missing the playoffs. Favre played his final 2 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings before retiring in 2011. For worst, Tom Brady. Yes, another 2020 debut makes the list, but that shouldn't be a surprise considering all the notable quarterbacks who changed teams in the 2020 offseason. The NFL schedule makers were more than kind to football fans in Week 1. They decided to make Brady's Tampa Bay debut a road game against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. A showdown between 2 all-time leaders in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Sign us up all the way. And their NFC South Division rivals, too. So this game was going to have major playoff implications early on in the season. But Brady's debut with Tampa Bay was far from memorable, to put it mildly. As many expected, he struggled to get in sync with his new receivers, and it didn't help that the Saints' defense also turned in a brilliant effort that day. Brady threw 2 interceptions, including one to Janoris Jenkins for a pick-6, and he was sacked 3 times. He didn't have 1 rushing touchdown and 2 TD passes, but the Saints dominated Brady for the majority of the 60 minutes.
As they beat Miami, here's a pass on 2nd and 15. This one's packed. Back the other way for the touchdown.
Brees and company cruised to a 34-23 victory, spoiling Brady's highly anticipated debut with his new team. Number 3, best, Sam Bradford. Football fans who watch Sam Bradford usually can't help but wonder what could have been. Drafted first overall by the St. Louis Rams in 2010, the former Heisman Trophy winner showed plenty of promise at times throughout his NFL career, but inconsistency and injuries always seemed to prevent him from reaching his full potential. After disappointing stints with the Rams and Eagles, Bradford joined the Minnesota Vikings in 2016. In just 1 game in, it looked like we might finally be getting the best of the former Oklahoma Sooner. Bradford torched the Green Bay Packers secondary in his first game with the Vikings, completing 22 of his 31 attempts for 286 yards and 2 touchdowns, including this absolute dime to Stephon Diggs.
For the commercial, walks off basically unassisted. Bradford on play action, going to the end zone. You got it.
Many went on to win their home opener over their division rival 17-14. And Bradford went on to enjoy perhaps the greatest season of his NFL career, throwing for 3,877 yards, 20 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions in 15 games. He got off to an even better start the following season, throwing for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns in a Week 1 victory over the Saints. But he suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 2 and only played in 3 more games for the Cardinals in 2018 before calling it a career. Number 3, worst, Kurt Warner. Injuries, poor play, and the emergence of Mark Bulger led to the end of Kurt Warner's short but illustrious run with the St. Louis Rams. The Super Bowl 34 champion and 2-time MVP was released in the 2004 offseason. Warner then signed with the New York Giants, who had just landed Eli Manning as their franchise quarterback of the future. The G-Men decided to take it slow with Manning, and they made Warner their star to open the season. But Warner left a lot to be desired in New York's Week 1 opener, a road tilt against the arch-rival Philadelphia Eagles. He completed only 16-28 pass attempts for 203 yards and 0 touchdowns. That prompted head coach Tom Coughlin to bench Warner in favor of Manning.
31-10 Philly. Kurt Warner fumbles as they're it up. And now Eli Manning. Time for him to make.
Warner was sacked 4 times in the affair, and he lost 1 fumble. The Eagles cruised to a 31-17 victory over the Giants. Warner went 5-4 as the team starter before Eli eventually took over. He then landed with the Arizona Cardinals, where he spent the final 5 seasons of his Hall of Fame career. Number 2, best, Peyton Manning. The Colts signed Manning to a 5-year contract extension worth $90 million in the 2011 offseason, seemingly assuring that he would finish his career right where he started. But an ongoing neck injury kept Manning sidelined for the entire 2011 season, and the Colts finished with a 2-14 record, obtaining the first overall pick for the first time since 1998. The Colts decided that they couldn't pass up on the chance to draft a generational quarterback prospect in Stanford's Andrew Luck. And with Manning entering his age 36 season coming off major neck surgery, it made sense for the 2 sides to mutually agree to part ways. Indianapolis released Manning and got his contract off the books. After meeting with several teams in 2012 free agency, the 4-time MVP decided to sign with the Denver Broncos following some successful recruiting by John Elway. Right away, there were concerns about Manning's age and health. Folks worried that it would just take 1 hit to end his career abruptly, but it didn't take the sheriff long to silence the doubters. Manning's Broncos hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football to open the season. Against a stingy Pittsburgh secondary, Manning completed 19 passes for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in a 31-19 victory.
Steelers up 19-14. Peyton got much better. Manning, old reliable pick.
Nice audible. They call that a rug route. You know that's like a pick.
Manning showed the football world that he was back in business. It was only the start of a glorious 4-year tenure for him in the Mile High City. He wound up leading the Broncos to an AFC Best 13-3 record. The following season, he would win the 2013 MVP award and lead Denver to a pair of Super Bowl appearances, winning it all in his swan song 2015 season. Number 2, worst, Warren Moon. Following a storied 10-year tenure with the Houston Oilers franchise, Moon was traded to the Minnesota Vikings ahead of the 1994 season. Moon's first year with his new team was actually fairly successful. His debut, however, was not. The Hall of Famer just couldn't get anything going in the Vikings' Week 1 road game against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. He barely completed over half his pass attempts for only 166 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Moon was also sacked 3 times by Green Bay's ferocious defense.
It's 1st and 10 for Warren Moon. He'll go right to work. Little play action by Moon. He's got Reed.
Minnesota's defense kept the team in the game, but they fell short in a 16-10 loss. Everything would turn out fine, however. Moon wound up winning 9 of his 15 starts that year, helping the Vikings to a 10-6 record and a playoff berth. One best, Joe Montana. Only time, injuries, and the rise of Steve Young could separate Joe Montana from the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, all 3 kicked in at practically the same time. The 4-time Super Bowl champion missed the entire 1991 season as he recovered from a serious elbow injury that required surgery. By the time Montana returned in 1992, Young had already cemented himself as a new starter, having won the league MVP award that same year. The 49ers decided to roll with the younger and healthier Young, and Montana was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs in 1993. But how much did a 37-year-old Montana have left after missing almost 2 entire years? And how would he fare with a new team in a completely different environment? He answered those questions quickly and rather decisively. Montana was near perfect in the Chiefs' Week 1 road game against Tampa Bay. He completed 14 passes for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading Kansas City to an easy 27-3 victory. Indeed, Joe Cool still had it. The Chiefs made the playoffs in each of Montana's 2 seasons at the helm, including the 1993 AFC Championship game where they fell to the Buffalo Bills. Nearly 3 decades later, and Montana remains the golden standard for quarterback debuts with a new team. And number 1, Johnny Unitas. Unitas was unquestionably the most decorated quarterback of his era. He revolutionized the position by morphing into a pure pocket passer. Unitas and the Baltimore Colts enjoyed a glorious 17-year run together, which spanned from 56 to 72. The 10-time Pro Bowler led the Colts to 3 NFL championships and a Super Bowl V championship. But age began to catch up with Unitas, and the Colts began to unravel in the 72 season, which turned out to be his last with the franchise. He just started 5 games that year, and the Colts decided to transition towards the post-Unitas era. After the 72 season, Unitas was traded to the San Diego Chargers, but it didn't take long for the football world to sadly notice his icon was finished. In the season opener at Washington, Unitas completed only 6 of 17 pass attempts for 55 yards, 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times in a 38-0 blowout loss. Unitas lost 3 of 4 starts in his final NFL season. The Chargers then rolled with future Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. And the rest, as they say, is history. What other quarterback debuts should we have added to our list? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, then go down and hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, then like the video. We'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, tune into TPS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you next time.